And this is going to be Redstone tier list. So first, we got Redstone dust. And this is a pretty obvious S tier. Everything in Redstone is based off of it. You can't have torches, repeaters, anything without it. So it definitely gets an S tier spot. Up next, we have a redstone torch, and this is another S tier. This is an inverter of sorts. It allows for different logic gates to be made, and it can invert signals. That's useful. It's worth noting that these two make everything of redstone. Like the internet for the win, like 10 or 15 years ago, a long time ago, made 16-bit ALU. Just these. That's pretty cool. I think these are both S tiers, but I'm trying to figure out which one is more. I'm gonna go with comparators. I'm gonna give them the edge because they give you, these are the reason for auto sorters, and those are very useful. Let's see. Next is a redstone block. This is fine. Probably a B tier. It's good if you want a power source that's always on, but I can't always find situations like that. I don't often. And I think we have the target block next, which I'm actually going to place this above target. I think the target block is good. But again, a little bit niche and still not the best with incorporating it into circuits. Next, we have the buttons and levers. These are power sources and allow you control a multitude of things. I'd say maybe the lever is better. It lets you actually switch things with a button. You can only turn it on for a certain amount of time, and I mean, these are basically the same, so yeah. Let me get my next entries. So following those, we have some pressure plates. These are nice. I have these on my door just so it shuts automatically. They're convenient. I think I'll give stone the edge because it looks like something you could use traps for, because it blends in with stone more. And then we have these heavy and lightweighted pressure plates, and I've never used these a single time. These are an immediate D tier, but the way these work is for the lightweight pressure plate, every one entity that is on it, it gains a signal strength. And for this one, I believe it's 10. Don't fact check me on that. Well, do fact check me on that because I'm probably wrong. Next up is wool and amethyst. Amethyst I've only used when I made a sorting system for music discs, which included delays, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's only got like one use, but that one use is pretty cool. But wool can control sound if you have skulk sensors, which I'm not really good with that stuff. I've never used it, but I'll give wool the edge here. These are kind of both C tier entries. Soul Shrieker. That's a wireless redstone. That's pretty freaking cool. I'll give it a B tier. Next up is a Skull Shrieker, and the only thing I know this thing of being useful for is an observer thing, which there are so many more convenient ones. This goes to D tier. And then the calibrated sculk sensor. I think I'm actually gonna put this ahead of that. We're gonna put sculk sensor after the calibrated one. The calibrated one allows you to put certain signal strength in it, and that allows you to choose different sounds like walking or mobs dying or something like that. That's really cool. Again, I'm not really a skulk redstoner yet. I never have been. After all those, we have a tripwire hook, and this is pretty cool. You can use traps with it, but I feel like these are a little too obvious. I would place them into A tier, but honestly, since they're so obvious, I'm actually going to place these above the skulk sensors, and that's as far as I'm willing to go. Then we have string, which I think is used for observers and also tripwire hooks. Its utility is better than the tripwire hook, but not much better. I think this is probably B tier. It's not as good as a redstone block, but I think it's better than these. So now let me just switch everything. Oops, went a little too. This system is not good. Gosh dang it. Oops. We'll just keep that there. Now we have two of these. These are both used for flying machines. Flying machines are pretty awesome, actually. They're very cool, used in different farms, and flying machines can be used for elevators as well. That's some neat utility. The reason these are both used is because slime and honey will not stick to each other, so that allows for more complicated redstone builds with that, which is cool. It helps a lot with piston doors as well. Each one kind of has different things. Honey block is like not a full block, so once I make a full video of this mega base that I have, I'll show you that you can make a really cool soul sand elevator with it, with honey blocks. That's cool. But slime blocks are also used in a variety of other things like TNT dupers. They're used to bounce things. I'm admittedly drawing a blank here. Something else worth mentioning is honey blocks are a transparent block, while slime blocks are a full block, so I believe I will give slime ever so slightly higher edge. I'm not putting them above these because these have, I'd say, a higher utility. These are really cool, but I don't think they go above these. Their utility is just not high enough. As cool as flying machines are. And now we have pistons. These are some of the most interesting redstone components because, obviously you can move blocks. Now, the thing is, if you give a sticky piston a really short pulse and it has a block on it, it'll actually retract the block away from it. That's a very interesting mechanic that opens up some neat possibilities. That combined with it pulling back blocks too gives it the advantage. Again, these are like the four goated components. Very few things can top these, and these can't. But they're an S tier. Let's see. A lightning rod at a daylight detector. So a lightning rod, that gets a D tier. Really? How did that even place? Oh, well, that's annoying. Whatever. Really, this doesn't have much purpose except for a mob head farm, which is nice. Daylight detector. I mean, it has more utility than any of these. Actually, yeah, I'm placing this above string. Next we have the lectern. Lecterns are interesting, a little niche. If you have a book on them and you have different pages, it gives different comparator outputs. It's an interesting concept, but actually getting it to work in Redstone contraptions is a little impractical. I think I'll put it at the top of C tier. It's neat, but doesn't really work out that well. And that's the first shulker box of stuff. Next we have droppers and dispensers. These are good. Dispensers are cool for traps. The only thing is it's an absolute pain in the neck to craft these because they require bows and those are non-stackable items, so I think that alone moves it down quite a few tiers because it's annoying to mass craft these. But droppers, they have the same functionality. They're like ever so slightly nerfed, but it's you don't want to, doesn't make you want to die when you just want to craft like a stack of these, so I'll place droppers higher. Droppers, I'm putting dispensers in B tier, honestly. I hardly ever use dispensers. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna place it right there. Droppers, I'll put those. Come on. Dang it. Get one more block. There we go. And all right. Trap chest and chest are next. A chest really isn't used in any redstone stuff. Usually people just use a barrel because chests are considered entities and barrels are not. Chest goes in C tier because it's technically usable. I don't blame you for using them, but barrels are just kind of better. Those are generally used to give signal strength outputs. Those are used quite frequently in the redstone clock I have over there. But trap chest, lock here, that gray area slightly changed. And also you can just use the F3 menu, so, and it'll tell you if it's a trap chest, so it isn't really that good. I think it merits itself. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put this lower than a chest because who the heck uses trap chests anymore? Let's see. A jukebox and a barrel. Barrel, I think I'm gonna put in A tier. Now, where in A tier is a good question. Actually, I don't use these that often. I'll just put it there. Jukebox. If there's a music disc in it, it'll give redstone signal. It basically kind of acts like a redstone block over there, which is interesting. And you can have like a jukebox shuffler if you know how to build one of those, which are cool. Ultimately, they go in C tier because, again, the use is limited, but the one use it does, the one or two uses it does have is kind of neat. Let's see, up next, got the chiseled bookshelf, which you can store books in and then get a comparator read from it. It's not as good as a barrel because a barrel you can have all 15 signal strengths. With this, you can only put 6 books in there, so there's, I think, only 6 signal strengths. I don't think it's movable by a piston either, so correct me if I'm wrong on that. These are better used for decoration, to be completely honest, so I'll put that into C tier. Furnace, I believe these are used for unmovable blocks. Blocks pistons can't push. And honestly, I don't know why you just wouldn't just use obsidian. I guess it's a cheap alternative if you really need it. Put it there. I can't think of any times I really need that. And now we have my favorite redstone item because I play hardcore Minecraft a lot and I use a lot of farms. Hoppers are the best way to collect stuff. So this is the absolute pinnacle of redstone. It outclasses redstone dust even. And only one other entry will outclass these like core redstone components. So you know these are pretty awesome. Oh, come on. I'm sure you guys love watching me fall down and then come back up. That's probably fun for you guys. Now the observer is the other entry that outclasses the four redstone components. It's not as good as a hopper, but these are very frequently used to automate farms. So I have to give this a banging S tier. This thing is an absolute banger. It's awesome. Okay. Alright, next we have cauldrons and composters. These are used frequently because, well, not because of their ability for signal strength, because this one has 3 states, this one has 8, I believe, but they're movable by pistons, so I have to give them a little bit of credit for that. I'll put them fairly high up on the list. They get I'll give them a respectable B tier. Composter obviously gets more. I'll put composter up here. We'll put the cauldron below the pressure plates, because only having 3 states is only so useful. Following all that, we have a note block and a minecart. Note blocks are kind of like a fancy button almost. You can slap these things. They also give notes. If a redstone signal, and depending on the block, they have a different note, which is neat. It's a little niche. It's a little niche, but it's really nice to have. Also, they're used for observer updaters as well. I'd say bottom of A tier. And then we have a minecart, which honestly, truthfully, you're better off just using this for transportation. Minecarts, I mean, they can activate detector rails, I think, and they're sometimes cool for transporting mobs in farms. But aside from that, these go above amethyst, below wool, I think. Okay, then we have rails up, and rails really aren't. Rails are not a redstone item, but you can change the direction with a redstone signal. But that's the only use it has, so for that reason I'm giving it top of D tier. Power rails, however, are a completely different story. These get a solid A tier for making transportation so convenient. These might actually kick out the lever out of top spot. I don't know. These are all awesome. Hold on a second, let me think here. Okay, I think I'm gonna put them here. The lever is really good because you can switch stuff on and off yourself. This only turns something on for a short period of time, which is sometimes more preferable than a lever, but more often than not, I find myself wanting to use a lever in a redstone build rather than a button. That's just me, of course. And then, where did the honey block go? There it is. And now we have detector rail and activator rail. Activator rails, they let mobs exit up minecart, or they force them to. That's helpful. It is helpful. It's helpful, but it's kind of niche. You can only really use it in that one specific situation. But that situation is actually pretty helpful, so I'll give it top of C tier. Detector rails, on the other hand, you can use to power redstone signals, which is okay, but who the heck is using that? Plus the crafting recipe for it is kind of dumb too. So I think I'm placing detector rails into D tier. They technically have a use, but it's not worth it, in my opinion. And now we just have a bunch of minecarts. Minecart with hopper, I think it goes to S tier. It doesn't beat out these four, but it beats out the pistons, so I'll put this at a real good spot in S tier. Now we have a minecart with chest. Truthfully, I don't ever really use these. I use them in my super smelter because I can carry more than this. But this loads items in it much faster. This one, I mean, I've never really seen anyone use it in redstone builds. This is like a low B tier. I may have to get more item frames too. I'll put it above tripwires in the tier list. Next we have some more minecarts. Minecart with TNT. That's fun for traps. If you don't want to hear it fizz, you just drop it on somebody. That's real fun. While it lacks a bit on practical use, I think it's still very good. Leaning towards an A tier. It's really more of a prank than anything, but it's a fun way and a good way to prank someone, so it gets bottom of A tier. Minecart with the furnace. People hate this thing too much. It's not great by any means or even good, but it is great for pushing enemies like shulkers. I've had to push shulkers like 3 or 4 times now, and goodness, it is annoying. So honestly, just for how easy this made transporting shulkers, I'm putting this at the very top of C tier. It's not good by any means, but it does not deserve all the hate that it gets. Boat and a bamboo raft, which for reference, I'm using everything that was on the creative mode menu for the redstone category, and for some reason these were both on here. Only thing I can use or think of using these for is for like a tiny super smelter, because these have a massive hitbox, so you can use them to fill 9 hoppers at once, which is, when you think about it, it's actually a pretty cool use, but it's limited to smaller farms, which I use, occasionally. But overall, I have more large-scale farms, so this isn't that good. don't think I want to place them in D tier, but they are not B tier. Not even close. I'll put them higher than... Let's see. Yeah, I'll put them there. Okay. Now we have door, iron door, and oak fence gate. Door. My honest opinions on these are too niche, really. The only one that is really good is an iron door because it requires redstone to unlock or to open. I mean, at least it does have a use, unlike... You know what, actually, yeah, I'm putting this above the boat with a chest. It's okay. It's okay at best. And then these, I mean, these are just... This one gets a little bit more points because it kind of controls you letting in mobs, but even then, that use is way too niche. And doors, I mean, they're just regular doors. You can get an observer output of them. Whoop-de-doo. I don't care. Fence gates, though, like in the mob head farm, you have to contain some of the mobs. And then what it does is it uses this lightning rod to charge the creepers and to let them out, opening these gates. So that's a little bit of how that works. We have our last components now. Trapdoors are okay. Actually, let's start with TNT. TNT is actually really useful for farms. I'm going to put this... Actually, I think I'm going to put this in S tier. Just because of how it is used in big farms like tree farms. This big cobblestone farm that produces like 75,000 of it per hour. That's awesome. Now, unlike the door situation, like these doors, I think these wooden trapdoors are better. I almost never see iron trapdoors used in builds. Like, okay, cool, you can have a locked trapdoor in this 1x1 ladder thing you're going up. How cool. Anyways, this trapdoor, it's much more accessible. You can use it to go in 1 block tall. It's very useful for that, and for that reason, I think I'm going to give it an A tier. All around very solid. Up next, we have some interesting ones. Redstone lamps. These are used for lighting and also all the time in computational redstone, which I absolutely fell in love with. It's really fun to see and to actually like build it. These are the main things that are used for computer screens in computational redstone. So I'm gonna put this above. It doesn't outbeat the minecart with the hopper because of its utility in farms being so high, but it definitely outbeats everything else in S tier. Armor stands. These are used if you, like on stacking raid farms, like on the version I'm on, which is 1.20. Camera's a little, but yeah, right there, right there. That's the kind of version that you can use this for stacking raid farms in. And then they got changed because, I don't know, Mojang decided to mess with something its functionality was fine to begin with. Really couldn't tell you why they messed with that. Honestly, the concept of ominous bottles are stupid. Bad Omen was better. And overall, they just nerfed. That change just nerfed stacking raid farms. One of the reasons I still play on 1.20. Wait a minute. Ah, frick. Right. Oh gosh, we gotta move everything. Actually, no. We'll keep that there for now. Once I get everything ranked, I'll just pause the video and rearrange everything so it looks good. And then I'll show you all the final picture of it. It's looking good so far. Now our last 3 entries are weird. The bell, you're better off using this to scare villagers into their houses so you can barricade them in their house and exploit them. Actually, I think these are all D tiers. I, hand to God, cannot think of a single reason for any of these except for observer things, which is what this thing is used for. Bell. I mean, you can use it for sound. That's still a D tier. There are better ways of getting sound than a bell, and a bell's kind of loud. So yeah, that gets a D tier. And I need another freaking item frame. Okay, so everything's ranked. I just need to organize everything, get rid of the excess item frames. We'll be back. Okay, everything is cleaned up now. All the excess item frames are removed. They're not. Yep, they're there. I got everything in order. Renamed those blocks I accidentally placed. I'm pretty happy with how this list turned out. Feel free to let me know what you if you disagree on anything, if you think something should be higher or lower on the list. Happy to hear your thoughts. Also, something worth mentioning, the mega base is done. There's nothing else to do. Everything's been cleaned up. Everything is done. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I can't wait to showcase this sucker off. This absolute behemoth of a project took me about 7.5 months to build. Now granted, I didn't work on it every day. Most of the time it was just, weekends or every other weekend, or, if I ever had some spare time on my hands, which, didn't always happen. I'll have a decent amount of free time in the weekdays, but I can't, play Minecraft for hours and hours and on end to make all this. So, but regardless, I will be making a video showcasing everything, kind of going in order of the time I built everything. Just, giving a basic rundown of how everything works, from, this calculator to the clock, the pixel art, these wires, all of it. I'm going to talk about all of it, even the stuff I made on my own, like that door, that Redstone game, that's rock, paper, scissors, all of it. I'm going to be covering all of that in that video, and this video is already like almost 15 minutes long. So that video will probably be like 2 hours long. I don't know when it'll be released. Hopefully I can do it within the month of May, but no promises. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.